We're uh, we're going to actually start. I just checked with the person who is the tech person for us this evening, and he says, I don't know if you all can see me. I can't see you. I just checked with the tech person this evening, and they said that we don't have, there's speakers that are still coming in, but we have many speakers, thank goodness, this evening. So good evening, and thank you, everyone, for joining the Montgomery County Council for the first ever Zoom Town Hall. We are in the midst of the most difficult times in our county's history, the unprecedented health crisis created by the coronavirus, coupled with the need to fully and completely focus our efforts on racial equity and social justice reform, making for challenging and difficult times, yet all of this presents the opportunity to act and respond in ways that are truly rewarding. Over the past 4 months, we have worked incredibly hard to assist our residences, businesses, and educational institutions in their battle to combat the incredible hardships brought on by COVID-19. We have appropriated funding to help every corner of our population to the very best of our ability, and we pledge to try to do more. We are also addressing historical inequities brought to light by recent events in our community and elsewhere, and again, we pledge to continue and strengthen these efforts. Thank you to everyone who is joining us this evening, and we look forward to addressing your questions and concerns. We were very pleased that we had so many sign up to speak, but because this is on Zoom, we have a definite end time. It's our goal to try to hear from everyone, but that means everyone must keep your remarks succinct, and the person answering it will need to do the same. Susan Kennedy, the moderator, is tasked with having to tell us we need to move on to the next person. That's not an easy job for anybody. I would like each of my fellow council members to introduce themselves as I call your name. Please state what part of the county you represent and what committees you serve on. I will start. I am Council President Sidney Katz. I represent the 3rd District, which encompasses the cities of Rockville, Gaithersburg, and the town of Washington Grove, and parts of Durwood, Redland, Potomac, North Potomac, and all of Leisure World. I'm the chair of the Public Safety Committee and serve on the Government Operations Committee. Next is Vice President Tom Hucker.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you all for joining us today. I'm Tom Hucker. I represent the 5th District in the council. That's the east side of the county, including Tacoma Park, Silver Spring, White Oak, and all the way up to Burtonsville. I serve with President Katz on the Public Safety Committee, and I chair our Transportation and Environment Committee. Thank you.
Thank you. And now I'm going to do this in alphabetical order. Councilmember Gabe Albernaz.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good evening, everyone. My name is Gabe Albernaz. I'm one of your 4 at-large members of the council. I am chair of the Health and Human Services Committee and also serve on the Public Safety Committee as well. Thank you.
Councilmember Andrew Friedson.
Good evening. I am Andrew Friedson. I represent District 1, the western portion of Montgomery County, from the Potomac River to the CSX Railroad, from the DC line to the Frederick County line. I serve on the Government Operations and Fiscal Policy Committee and on the Planning, Housing, and Economic Development Committee. I have the privilege of being the lead for parks for the County Council.
Thank you. Councilmember Evan Glass.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Evan Glass. I'm one of your at-large members, and on the council, I serve on the Transportation and Environment Committee and also on the Health and Human Services Committee, where I'm the point person on issues related to homelessness and vulnerable communities.
Thank you. Councilmember Will Jawando.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I'm Will Jawando. I'm also an at-large member of the council, which just means that we have the privilege of representing everywhere from Prince George's County line, DC line, to Frederick line, all over the whole county, all 1.1 million. And I'm on the Education and Culture Committee, where I serve as lead for libraries, which are open for contactless pickup and drop-off right now and have remained open. And I'm on the Fed Committee, the Planning, Housing, and Economic Development Committee.
Thank you. Councilmember Nancy Navarro.
Good evening, everybody. I am Councilmember Nancy Navarro, and I represent District 4, which is in the mid part of the county, anywhere from the area of Wheaton, and it goes north all the way to Olney. I chair the Government Operations and Fiscal Policy Committee, and I serve in the Education and Culture Committee. I can't wait for our conversation tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Craig Rice.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Craig Rice. I chair our council's Education and Culture Committee, and I'm a member of our Health and Human Services Committee. It's a pleasure to be with you this evening representing District 2, which includes much of the northern part of Montgomery County, including places like Germantown, Clarksburg, Damascus, Boyd's, Hyattstown, Darnestown, and the like, and Montgomery Village, of course.
Thank you very much. And Councilmember Hans Remer.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Hans Remer. I am one of the 4 at-large members. I am in my 3rd term on the County Council. I was first elected in 2010. I chair the Planning, Housing, and Economic Development Committee, and I serve on the Transportation and Environment Committee. Thank you.
Thank you. We are also very pleased to be joined by 2 additional people this evening, Board of Education President Shebra Evans and Dr. Travis Gales. We're going to ask the Board of Education President, Shebra Evans, if she will provide some brief remarks on education issues. Thank you.
Good evening to everyone. I do bring you greetings on behalf of all of my colleagues on the Board of Education, and this is definitely a very important event that you're holding today, and so I thank you for the invitation to join you. So I will provide some very brief remarks and just give a brief update on what's going on in MCPS. You all know over the past several months, MCPS has been planning for the recovery of education, and we wanted to do that with a focus on safety, provide a quality instruction, as well as equity for all of our students. The plan or the vision was to have our students first come back virtually to online learning, and then have our students phase in to come into our schools throughout the course of the fall semester. However, that has changed based on the guidance that we received from Dr. Gales. So many of you should know that on July the 21st, that was this week, MCPS, along with the board, announced that we would go to virtual online learning starting in the fall until January 29th of 2021. This was a very, very difficult decision, but we felt like it was the safest for our students and for our staff. And I just really appreciate our partnership with Dr. Gales and our local county health experts. He gave a recommendation to the board, which we took into MCPS, which we took very closely to heart, that at this time he did not recommend our students to come back into the schools for face-to-face learning, because it did not appear to be safe at this time. What I want to ask everyone to do is to tune into the board's August 6th board meeting. We will have our board meeting where we will get an additional update, and the adjustments that we've made based on the guidance of Dr. Gales will be implemented into our plan. We will also get feedback from all of our stakeholders. We sent out a survey, so we're looking forward to hearing what our students, staff, and community members had to say, although we did get an abundance of emails, so I know what the majority of them had to say, but we will get that updated information. At that time, the board will vote on the plan. Just wanted everyone to know that going forward, we will make certain that before our students come back to schools for in-person instruction, that we will rely upon the guidance from our county health experts. And so we just want everybody to know that. What will happen is at the end of the first semester, which will be in November, we will come back with Dr. Gales and assess where we are, and then from that point make a determination how we will go forward in second semester. Second semester begins February the 1st. Dr. Smith has assured the board that we will have a really robust virtual online learning program in the fall, that it will be different from the continuity of learning that our students had in the spring. So I just ask you all to continue to engage board members, to continue to provide the system with your feedback, with your comments. We do listen and we do read, and just know that first and foremost is always the safety and best interest of our students and our staff. So thank you, and I look forward to the discussion.
Thank you. And we're going to ask Dr. Travis Gales, who is the Public Health Officer for Montgomery County, if he could please give us some brief remarks on the public health issues. Dr. Gales, I believe they've allotted an entire 3 minutes for you to do that. So if you could please do that, we'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you, Council President Katz. You all are used to being on the 5-minute rule, so I will work hard to do this. So first, let me say thank you to all of the members of the county organizations who have been a part of the public health response in all aspects and manners, as well as other government agencies, other community agencies, and you as the residents of Montgomery County. It's because of your work and continued adherence to the policies and practices that we have put forward based upon scientific and epidemiologic data and evidence that we have been able to drive our numbers down to a place where we aren't leading the state in terms of new cases and we aren't leading the state in terms of test positivity. In fact, on a daily basis, we now provide less than 10% of the new cases to the state of Maryland. Our test positivity is at 3.3%, which is below the state average of 4.6. We test more residents on a daily basis than any other jurisdiction in the state, and we have continued to expand those opportunities for all residents, particularly those in the highest volume zip codes, where we already have achieved testing well over 10% of the population in those respective areas. Now, we've seen our numbers move, and you can follow along at home on the dashboard to see that we have made progress from well over a month ago, where we were averaging nearly 300 cases on a daily basis. Now we have reached a point where we're seeing 60 to 70 cases on a daily basis, and in spite of the fact that we've seen improvements, we have a long way to go. It's not the time to let up. It's the time to remain to be vigilant, continue to use face coverings. We have a mandate in place. Continue to physically distance with individuals who are not in your household and outside of your network, and continue to practice other precautions to keep yourself safe. Now, part of the rest of the address that we have to do in efforts to drive the number down is to have some serious conversations about, while we increase testing and we increase those provisions, about the social determinants of health that impact COVID-19, both in terms of those communities that see the highest number of new cases, but also the communities that are disproportionately impacted in terms of severity of disease. This is a time where we can have meaningful conversation and establish policies that address those factors and barriers that we know that have long influenced health outcomes, not just within the COVID space, but when we look at a host of other factors, including chronic disease, maternal and infant mortality, and so on and so forth. So I'm excited about the work that we will continue to do together as government agencies, nonprofit communities, community organizations, and again, with you as the residents of Montgomery County. Hopefully, we will continue to move the numbers in the right direction so that our next virtual town hall, potentially sometime in the near future, we will be talking about reopening more aspects of society as we move forward. Thank you.
Thank you. And Dr. Gales, you came in under the 3 minutes. Very impressive. Very impressive. And with that, we're going to ask Susan Kennedy, who I said earlier has a very difficult job to try to keep us all on task because we have so many people this evening, which is a great thing. But we also have a very definite end time this evening because it's on Zoom. So Susan, if you could please let us begin.
Certainly, sir. As the president mentioned, we only have about 2.5 minutes per person for your question and an answer. So that gives you kind of an idea where we're at to make our time on this show. So we're going to get right to the speakers. The first one tonight is Andrea Kronzek. Ms. Kronzek, are you there? Okay, go right ahead.
I'm here. I'm speaking on behalf of 125 residents who support our police department and are concerned about this council's actions. The stakeholders who are omitted from the deliberations about what is best for this department are the patrol officers themselves. Has there been an effort to assemble a panel of officers who can tell you firsthand what it's like to be a police officer, what their challenges and experiences are? No group, including MCPD, deserves to be judged by the worst among them, who should be held accountable. And we suggest that no one wants that to happen more than the officers who honor the oath they took to protect the citizens of this county, regardless of race, gender, or religion. We condemn racism and brutality, and we support MCPD because we believe that the vast majority of our officers live by the values they swore to uphold. What this council is doing by stripping them of their rights reeks of the very thing the council is attempting to remedy. Police have a right to stay safe, to not be assaulted, to due process. As a result of this council's actions, good officers may retire earlier than they would have otherwise. Good officers are looking for jobs elsewhere. Good prospective officers don't want to join a force where those who employ them work against them. Where does that leave us? How is that in anyone's best interest? Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Krunzak. And I'm the chair of the Public Safety Committee, and I'll just take a very brief moment and tell you that we are in the process of voting on Tuesday. We will be voting on a policing advisory commission. The police do have members that will be on that commission as well. All of our meetings are open to the public. The county executive is also forming another group to be looking at how we should be looking at policing in Montgomery County. We want to hear every voice. We need to hear every voice. As you know, and just like every place, people have a variety of opinions, and we want to know all their opinions. So we thank you very much, and please stay involved in our process.
We have time for one other comment from a council member, if there is one.
Another council member want to comment? Thank you.
Okay.
I see no.
Thank you. We will go to our next speaker. That's Stephanie Guttormson.
Hello. Thank you. Thank you, Council, for having me again. I would like to express that I would like there to be enough police to handle violent crime, and not much more than that, because we don't need them. As it stands, only 4% of crime in Montgomery County is violent crime, meaning that only 4% of the crimes require police with guns, which means most of the police force is superfluous and unnecessary. 8% is medical, 7% is proactive, 12 is property crime, 19 is other crime, 13% is traffic, and 37%, the overwhelming majority, is non-criminal calls. So, yeah, we don't need cops per se. If these people that the last caller referred to are really in it for public safety, they can reapply as to do these other jobs without guns. But I think you'll find that it's more about the power trip than it is about anything. A study from 1992, no further studies can be done because cops oppose them, found that 40% of police officers are domestic abusers. So when you do this audit coming up, remember that 40% of them are probably domestic abusers. And I want to know from the council how they plan to weed out the bad cops, knowing that that statistic exists, and knowing that these people carry life and death in their hands, and they've been wielding it poorly, and now they're bucking at the idea of having some kind of oversight. So I'd like to know what we plan on doing about the public safety initiative that you guys want to do. I want to know what your ideas are for reimagining public safety.
Well, and there again, thank you very much for your comments. As I mentioned earlier, we do have these committees that are in the process. They have not actually started. Hopefully they will be starting very soon. We hope we appoint at least one of them on Tuesday, and they will give us their advice, and we will, and of course the police department themselves will be giving us advice. So we will all work together to come up with some solutions. Is there another council member that would like to comment on this topic as well? Okay. Thank you very much. Oh, yes, Council Vice President Hucker.
Sure, if there's time, I'll chime in. Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you, Stephanie, for your involvement in this issue. I think probably all of us agree that we need to modernize our police force and spend our money as wisely as possible. And I think all of us were probably disturbed by the statistics from the New York Times about the low number of calls that involve violent crime and the high number of police responses that are nonviolent. So I've been pushing forward with the support of all my colleagues, and I'm grateful for all their support, an effort to expand our mobile crisis units so that we could have trained social workers as well as EMTs located around the county who could respond very quickly to our residents who are experiencing psychological crises or substance abuse calls, and give us more options. Up to this point, unfortunately, we've had only armed police officers to send to those situations, and frankly, our police officers are not trained as mental health counselors, even though they get some mental health training, and they are not the right professionals to send. So expanding those is part of the solution, and I'm grateful that we're all working together to do that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And thank you, Susan, for letting us know when we're going over. I appreciate that.
No problem. Our next speaker is Antonia Surco.
Nuestra próxima persona para hablar es Antonia Surco. Por favor, siga. Antonia Surco.
Sí, muy buenas noches.
Good evening. Siga con su pregunta, por favor.
Okay. Yo soy Antonia Surco y soy exalumna del proyecto.
Siga.
Cívico Latino y líder activa del Círculo de Líderes de Huito. En nuestro grupo tenemos mujeres y hombres con habilidades y profesiones técnicas traídas desde nuestros países de origen. Nos gustaría, pero son muy...
The sound is going in and out. Señorita, el sonido.
Por ejemplo, I'm sorry. Sí, ya le puse el sonido. Ya está.
Okay, I'm sorry I have the sound on now. Yo tengo escrito lo que ustedes nos
el sonido.
Uh-huh. Siga, sí. ¿Puede completar su pregunta?
Sí. Preguntamos si podremos tener o contar con el apoyo del Consejo, del Ejecutivo y también de todos los concejales para poder tener acceso a becas que fueran dadas por el Montgomery College, para poder acceder a estas becas, ser otorgadas por Montgomery College y supervisados por algunas organizaciones comunitarias propuestas por los beneficiarios. Acompañen y el seguimiento a los resultados. Nos encantaría de verdad que pudiéramos tener acceso a estas becas, porque eso elevaría la calidad de vida de nuestra población latina en el condado. Muchas gracias por oírnos y esperamos que la respuesta sea positiva.
Gracias. Voy a interpretar. I'm now going to interpret. Good evening. My name is Antonia Surco. I'm a former student of the Cívico Latino Project in the Wheaton chapter. In our group, our support group includes people with skills and professions from our countries, and we would like to reactivate these. For example, cosmetology, mechanics, other technical fields. We ask for your support of the council and of the county executive to obtain scholarships from Montgomery College, and that these that are worked with them be supervised by community organizations that we, the beneficiaries, would identify. We would like the organization to accompany us and support us and monitor the results of this benefit. This would help greatly in elevating our quality of life. Thank you and good evening.
Thank you. I'm going to ask Councilmember Rice, who is the chair of the Education and Culture Committee, to comment, please.
Thank you very much, and thank you very much for your question. It is something that is incredibly important to us, in that we want to make sure that we're preparing our constituency, the folks who live here in Montgomery County, for the jobs of tomorrow.
Muchas gracias, muchas gracias. Esta pregunta es muy importante para nosotros. Queremos preparar a los que representamos para su rol aquí en Montgomery County.
And what we want to do is make sure that all of the programs that we have at Montgomery College are accessible, affordable, and prepare you to enter the workforce in many different types of categories.
Lo que queremos asegurar es que todos los programas de Montgomery College sean accesibles, económicos, y que les prepara para acceder a carreras aquí en el condado.
Montgomery College has a large number of scholarships that they provide to students, many of which are Pell Grant recipients. And we can be sure, if you reach out to the Montgomery County Council, and you can reach out to my office, we'll make sure that we connect you with those resources that Montgomery College has for individuals here in Montgomery County to attend Montgomery College classes.
El Montgomery College tiene muchas becas para los estudiantes, muchos de los cuales son recipientes de donaciones de Pell, grants de Pell. Así que pido que ustedes se pongan en comunicación con mi oficina o con el consejo en general, y podremos ponerle en comunicación con el college y para quien se encarga de estas becas.
We need to move on, please. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Con esto se termina.
Our next speaker is Diana Conway.
Hi.
Ms. Conway, she was there. I don't know that maybe she's not there anymore. We do not. Okay, maybe she's not on the line any longer. Okay, our next speaker would be Kimberly Rusnak. No, I don't see her either. Marcela Cesoredes.
And just as we're doing it, I know that there are storms in the area. I have a storm outside my window as we speak, and I know Councilmember Rice has one as well. So it could be that we're running into problems with that. Welcome to technology. But anyhow, we will.
Yeah.
If someone, as you can hear from my window, if someone comes back on, we will see. If we see your name, we will let you know that Ms. Kennedy know that you're back to speak.
Yes, please. I see Ingrid Figueroa there. Ms. Figueroa, would you like to ask your question?
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for taking your time tonight. My name is Ingrid Figueroa, and I represent Hughes of Buen Samaritano in Wheaton. My question is, I need to know where we can get funds for children and women for empowerment and counseling. We need at least 5 computers and 5 sewing machines so we can start with 2 different groups. How can we get that?
Thank you. Councilmember Navarro, did you want to?
Can you repeat your question in terms of you have a project and you're wondering how you can get telephones and computers? Is that what you were asking?
No. What we asking is we want 5 computers and 5 sewing machines so we can start giving classes and we can start giving, for example, ESL classes teaching computer skills.
Got it. So as you know, we have a grants program, and through that grants program, we have 2 kinds. We have the microloan program, and also we have a community grants program. And so what you're trying to do, I think, would fit very nicely within those 2 particular funding mechanisms. And so, again, if you wish, you can just contact us on the council. We'll be able to share with you the process so that you can apply, so you're able to access funds from the county government in order to obtain the equipment that you need to provide that support and to operate. So please, contact us. As you know, we're on, we have a website, County Council website that has all of our contact information. And again, we'll be very happy to share with you the application process.
Thank you. Does another council member want to answer that question as well? Please, Councilmember Reamer.
I can only add to Nancy's perfect response that the Department of Housing and Community Affairs administers one of the grant programs that is for the entrepreneurs that Nancy mentioned. So it's funded with some federal funding, and it sounds like it might be just what you're looking for, as Nancy said. So you could certainly contact the county council. That program you should be able to find it on the county website, but it would probably be good to contact the council to get some assistance.
Thank you. Ms. Kennedy, please.
Yes, our next speaker will be Valerie Cole.
Good evening, Mr. Katz and council members. I'm really excited to be able to speak to you this evening. I want to thank you, Mr. Katz, especially at the beginning, because you mentioned how these are difficult times. And as a homeowner in the county, in the Colesville area, and as a teacher in the county going on to my 32nd year, teaching 3rd and 4th grade here, I can tell you firsthand, it is extraordinary what we are asking of the children, asking of our staff, and really asking of each other. But you also said something else. You talked about the importance of equity and justice at the beginning. And all of these things tie together. The difficult times we're in, the equity and the justice that we know we need to have, and that really has to start being handled in our schools. And I think Ms. Evans said it very well when she talked about how we're getting ready for a robust recovery. But a robust recovery can't happen unless we have a plan to fully develop and fund the survival needs of our students right at this time. And it is a hard reach. I know how hard it is for Montgomery County to raise its funds. Our hands are tied in some ways. And we need those federal dollars from the CARES Act that we know that are out there, but we also know there are a lot of disparate needs. But if we can take a big ask of that CARE money, of those federal funds, to make sure that our children get what they need, we will have done an extraordinary amount of good for this county now and in the future. So my question is, out of the monies that we know that are available, $85 million to fund what we need to have in terms of this difficult time, this unanticipated time, this extraordinary time, is what we're going to need to ask for. And my question is, who has the commitment on this committee, on the council, who has the foresight to accept that that's what we're really going to need to do and fight for it? Because it's about our kids, and it's about their safety, and it's about their security now, and it's about their security in the future. So that's my question to you, and I hope you all stay safe. I hope you all stay well, because the work you're doing and the work you're going to do for our kids to make sure they have what they need is incredibly, incredibly important. So thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Rice, did you want to?
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair, and thank you very much for all of your service to all of our children here in Montgomery County. As the son of a teacher, let me just tell you, I can't thank you enough for what it is that you've done. Let me just say this: when it comes to finances, the county's been very strong in terms of making sure that our school system was stood up, even as much as this most recent savings plan. And so I'll start there and work our way backwards. Out of all the departments that were asked to save money, including Montgomery College, Montgomery County Public Schools was held harmless. This was through the leadership of the county executive, and I want to give him credit for not even proposing a reduction, as we asked for up to 6% reductions from all departments as a part of our savings plan. The reason why this was done is because we knew that Montgomery County Public Schools was very unique in terms of what it is that we needed to do to help stand up distance online learning for the fall and potentially into next year. Then I'll go backwards a little bit more in that we've already allocated some CARES funding. Unfortunately, the CARES funding is running out, but certainly when it comes to additional allocations for our school system, we have continued to work with our school system in terms of meeting those needs. The Education and Culture Committee meeting, where we talked about the school system's budget, made it very clear that this council remains committed to meet the needs that our school system has. And so our school system just has to identify items that they need as far as funding, and we'll be able to move forward with making those happen. That has always been our promise to our school system, to continue to fund them appropriately and to the needs that they have, and we'll continue to do that. I don't know if Ms. Evans wanted to weigh in as well as the
Please, I was going to ask her.
Yes, thank you. First, thank you for your service. I appreciate the call. And I will say that myself and Dr. Smith did come to the council back in May. Don't quote me on the exact date. We came before the Education and Culture Committee, as well as a work session before the council, to talk about what our needs were as a result of the pandemic. The disparity stood out really blatant, that we would need help in technology, the recovery of learning, and also just wanted to make certain that our operational process remained efficient and robust. So just thank you for the call, and I do appreciate the partnership that we have with our council, because they do believe in quality public education. That's what makes us great here in Montgomery County. So thank you.
Susan, I just have very, very quickly, I also just want to put a plug in for Kerwin Commission. We need to overturn the governor's veto of the Kerwin Commission recommendations, when we're talking about money coming into our school system that will make a difference in terms of the things that you mentioned. That's exactly where we need that support to come from. And that money is there, it needs to come here, so that the various jurisdictions throughout the state. Thank you.
And if I could, I'm going to ask Councilmember Albernaz to also jump in on this one, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. I love the Baby Yoda screenshot, Ms. Cole. That is very cool. Just very, very quickly, in addition to the direct support of students through our school system, the council is fully committed to supporting the entire family. We have put forward rental assistance programs. We have put forward economic relief programs specifically for families who were not eligible to receive the $1,200 federal stimulus. And just today, we had 2 separate council sessions to discuss special appropriations around mental health. And so our eyes are wide open to the challenges of our students, and we are all deeply concerned, just as you are, and agree moving forward, as more resources are available, we will continue to support the entire family, both through MCPS and the teaching, but also holistically the other needs as well.
And thank you, Ms. Cole. My wife actually is a retired employee of Montgomery County Public Schools. She worked for them for 40 years, and I suggested she try to go another 40, and she found no humor in that. So we sincerely appreciate all your effort and all your work. Ms. Kennedy, please.
Yeah, the good news and the bad news is, the good news is that we had a few people who haven't been able to join us this evening, so that has relaxed our time restrictions a little bit. So you were fine on that one, so that's good. We do have Marcela Cespedes on the line, I understand. So Ms. Cespedes, if you could begin your testimony.
Sería Glenda Marcela Céspedes, por favor. ¿Puede presentar su pregunta, señorita Céspedes?
Parte del proyecto cívico latino y pertenezco al círculo de líderes de Wheaton. Como parte de nuestros esfuerzos, hemos conformado una cooperativa y nos gustaría saber si existe algún programa en el condado que ayude a los residentes a poder concretar sus sueños de convertirse en pequeños empresarios y así materializar nuestras ideas.
Good evening. My name is Glenda Céspedes. I'm part of the Cívico Latino project, and I belong to the Wheaton Leadership Circle. As part of of what we've done, we've created a cooperative. We'd like to know if there is some program in the county that would help residents to reach their dreams of becoming small entrepreneurs and thereby really put their ideas into action. ¿Quiere seguir con su pregunta?
Sería ideal que el programa no esté sujeto a organizaciones ya existentes en el campo económico. hablamos de una propuesta que nos permita desarrollarnos y funcionar bajo nuestras propias normas y metas. Gracias.
Ideally, this program wouldn't be run by any of the existing business or economic organizations. We're talking about a proposal that would allow us to develop ourselves and function under our own norms and goals. Thank you.
Thank you. Council Member Reamer, who's the chair of the Fed Committee, please.
Thank you. Great question. We do have a number of micro-enterprise programs. They're intended to help entrepreneurs, often those with modest means. We're not seeking a loan of $100,000. They might be seeking a loan of $1,000 or $5,000 to purchase equipment to repair, a service vehicle for their own small business, to buy a sewing machine. We do have programs to support those kinds of needs. So our Montgomery County Economic Development Corporation can provide some assistance there, at least connecting you with county resources. And you can find it on the county website as well. We've mentioned earlier tonight a program that was federally funded that is providing small loans and grants to entrepreneurs, especially those who have a lower income background. So I would really encourage you to try to find that, and we can provide some assistance to guide you to that program and make sure that you're able to connect to it. It is administered by the Department of Housing and Community Affairs, and it might be what you're looking for.
Gracias. Es una pregunta muy importante lo que hace. Tenemos varios programas para microempresas, para ayudar a pequeños empresarios con ingresos modestos. Por ejemplo, algunos otorgarían una donación o un préstamo de $1,000 para comprar equipo o para reparar un vehículo, quizás para comprar una máquina de coser. La Comisión Económica de Montgomery County podría conectarle a usted con recursos y uno puede fijarse en su sitio web. También hay pequeños préstamos y donaciones para empresarios de otras fuentes. Podremos ayudar a guiarles. Estarían administrados bajo el Departamento de Vivienda, Department of Housing. Gracias.
Thank you. Councilmember Navarro.
Thank you, Mr. President. También quería sugerir que quizás por medio de Lilian Mas, que está en esta reunión, ella puede hacerle seguimiento para darle la información específica, los números de teléfono y con quién se puede comunicar, porque sabemos que, por ejemplo, en la Corporación de Desarrollo Económico tenemos una persona, Daniel Parra, específicamente para ayudar a la comunidad latina que necesita este tipo de información. Entonces, quiero hacer esa sugerencia. I was just suggesting that since we have Lilian Mas on with us as well, that perhaps she can provide that kind of follow-up with the specific phone numbers and information. Specifically with the Economic Development Corporation, we have somebody, Daniel Parra, who is there to provide that kind of support to our communities of color and business, etc.
I will absolutely do a follow-up. Yo la estaré contactando, señor Marcela.
Okay. Thank you. Ms. Kennedy.
Okay, thank you. Our next question will come from Dustin Jeter.
Good evening, members of the council, and thank you very much for taking my question today. My name is Dustin Jeter. I'm a government teacher and head football coach at Springbrook High School. I'm very happy to represent my colleagues as teachers within the school system. This fiscal year, the county council has funded a quote-unquote same services budget for MCPS, while the schools have incurred many more expenses, including feeding kids throughout the pandemic, providing technological needs to those students to be able to continue their learning, as well as a change in the budget after it was approved from the council level the board had made additional cuts to provide for an $85 million enrichment program to make certain that our students don't fall behind during this time after our continuity of learning. While we appreciate all of the hard work that the council and the board do, we do, as educators, have some questions about how we can find more resources for our students. I think you heard earlier about the CARES Act money that we are definitely looking to hopefully see allocated to our school system. And so my questions are, I'm sorry, I forgot to mention, I appreciate Councilmember Rice mentioning the ability to hold harmless the school system for more cuts, especially with the fact that we were already at maintenance of effort. And so going below that would be detrimental to our system. So the question that we have is, what is the council's plan for providing the additional resources necessary? And you mentioned that there were some CARES Act money that was already allocated. How much was that? And how much is still available to be allocated? And finally, for Board President Evans, the question is there a need for that additional $85 million for CARES Act money? Would the school system be able to use that money if it was allocated? And would you be able to say that that would be something that we could definitely utilize in an already tight budget time? Thank you very much for taking my question.
Thank you. Councilmember Rice, or I guess you would want to answer the first, and then we'll turn to Ms. Evans, please.
Yeah, and then I also want to kick it to Councilmember Navarro, because I know that in government operations and fiscal policy, they also know a lot about what's happening with the CARES funding and the status of that. So I do want to share that. Look, from a strategic perspective, I would say that the best thing for us to do is to continue to advocate for additional funding at both the state and federal level. The reality is that the majority of money that we have spent for all of the things that you heard from Councilmember Albornoz that affect our children and their families is well beyond what we would get in terms of CARES reimbursement. My understanding is we're well beyond what that level is, so there's not an additional pocket of money left. Certainly from that perspective, we intend to still work with our school system to make sure that we can try and shore them up and continue to keep those kinds of great programming that we know is continuing to go on and needs to continue to increase as we approach the fall semester. So I'll stop there and then let Councilmember Navarro chime in terms of the CARES Act funding, and then Ms. Evans.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Well, just a real general observation, the reason why we decided to adopt a budget that was under the framework of continuity of services was because we understood that this particular pandemic was very different from the fiscal situation we faced during the recession. We have really no idea when is the end in sight, and we really don't even know what the impact is going to be. Most likely we're going to feel a lot of that lagging impact next year. So we wanted to position ourselves in a way that we would be proactive about the particular situation. In terms of the CARES Act money, what we have received from the executive in terms of a briefing is that we have basically reached the end of those funds, and we have very quickly used those funds to shore up many different areas of the county, including a lot of the families of our students in terms of, food assistance, emergency cash assistance, all of those things that we know have a direct impact in our families. It's what we use that money for. So I think at this moment in time, by the way, we just also are considering a line of credit for the first time in the history of the county, $300 million, because even though we're fortunate to have a robust reserve that we have reached a 10% level, we worked very hard throughout the years in case we ever had an emergency. Now that we have that reserve, we want to, just in case, consider having then that line of credit in case we have to tap into that reserve. So there's a lot going on right now, but like many other jurisdictions around the country, what we're advocating for is things like the HEROES Act in Congress, because then there would be an infusion of funds for jurisdictions to be able to shore up our fiscal stability. And so we're working hard to see whether the state and the federal government will continue to consider those kinds of needs for us here. And again, we're positioning ourselves with this line of credit and watching our reserves to be able to ensure that the county is in stable footing. As it was stated before, as Councilmember Rice said, we understand the needs of the school system. We've always been there for the school system, and we will continue to do whatever we can to provide that support. But in terms of the CARES Act, $183 million sounds like a lot of money, but it went really fast considering the very, very intense needs that our communities are facing and continue to face.
Ms. Evans, please.
Sure. So thank you again for your service. I'm sorry, I can only see 9 people, so I can't remember your name, but I appreciate your question and all that you do for our students. So your question to me was, if we were given additional money, would we be able to spend it? Absolutely. When I came, of course. So when I came before the council, while I understand that there are other needs for other agencies in the county, that I came advocating for the full amount that the board approved for our budget. So absolutely, we could use the money. We would be able to spend it. Our needs are great in our county, but as you heard from our county council members, they are very much aware of those needs and have been working really closely with us to help ensure that we can get as much as we can. I did not mention, and I did think about it earlier, that we do appreciate the additional money that we received. It was mentioned, I think, by Councilmember Reamer around the mental health supports that we got recently from the council. So they are very much aware, pay attention, and we have close connections to everyone on the council as well as the education committee to let them know what the needs are in our school system. So thank you for that question.
Great, thank you. We need to move on to the next question. That one got lots of extra time. Okay, the next person is Natalia. And Natalia, my apologies, I am not quite sure how to pronounce your last name, so if you would do us the favor and pronounce your last name for us.
Of course, I don't blame you. Natalia Mrozhinskaya. So it's 13 letters. It's a lot of letters in one name. So thank you very much for the opportunity to speak tonight. And I have a question about the street painting or street murals, and as they're called. And I think that we sort of get some awareness of the fact that there is a movement of using street messaging as a means to exercise the First Amendment. And I became aware of at least one of such mural in Montgomery County, and that's the article that was published at WDBM, and that the mural that was put up on Philadelphia Avenue in Silver Spring. And I just will cite a little bit from that article. So the mural takes up the better part of the entire block, and the business owners painted it without the go-ahead from county officials. We were in a position to say, hey, we are going to do it, and if there is negative consequences, we'll just have to deal with that. That's the owner who is saying that. Thankfully, the country is being okay with it. They've been nothing but supportive after the fact. So in connection with this, I have a couple of questions, because I know several groups that would like to paint, to have some street paintings. Obviously, the content is not just quite legitimate, and all the rest of it. However, I would like to ask the following questions. So first of all, is there a procedure for obtaining a permit having a painted message on a municipal property? Secondly, if there is one, what it is, who is the point of contact for this, and what the restrictions are on such messaging, and what the time frame for obtaining the permits are. And finally, for those signs that were painted without a proper permit, would they be needed to come down prior to obtaining the proper documentation, or would they be able to stay there retroactively, so to speak? So those are my questions. Thank you.
Thank you. I had some difficulty hearing you were going in and out on the audio. The answer is that what I could hear is yes, they would need a permit, and I do not suggest that they do anything retroactively. They need to get a permit prior to any doing anything on public property. If you or the people who are interested, would contact any of us on the county council, my office or any other office, to get the information. We'll pass it on to the people that need to be getting in touch with whoever is interested in doing this. But the first thing is we need to be very clear. You cannot use public property without the proper authority.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Melissa Schweisguth. Melissa Schweisguth, I know she's there. Can you hear us?
Can't hear you, Melissa.
I don't see her.
She's here. We'll move on to the next person, and then maybe she can get her audio straightened out, and we'll go back to her.
I wanted to say, I maybe you're just going in
okay.
order of participants. I'm just listening right now.
Oh, you didn't want to speak?
No. I mean, not at the moment. But I do want to say thank you to the counselors for doing this. I know that they had a really long day yesterday, a long day. Well, they've had a very long week, a very long few months, and it's really fantastic that they're all taking this evening time for us. So that's all I want to say right now. I know that they're working hard to address, some questions I had, and I just appreciate all they're doing.
Thank you. You're very kind. All of us want to answer that question, yes.
Okay, we have Carla Pettinelli is our next speaker, please.
Good evening. My name is Carla Pettinelli, and as a licensed physician in Maryland with 30 years of experience in clinical research in infectious disease at the Division of AIDS at the National Institute of Health, I strongly recommend mandating wearing masks all the times, both indoor and outdoors, while in public. I commend County Executive Erich, Dr. Gales, and the council member for the action taken so far. But now is the time to maximize the prevention tools that are available in order to save lives. Currently, our prevention toolbox is limited. It consists mainly of face covering, safe distance, and wash and tracing. We need to maximize their effectiveness. For many reasons, intermittent use of masks is not the most optimal way to implement it. For example, it might create a more hazardous condition, the continuous use, due to the inappropriate repetitive touching of the face, a possible infected area of the face mask. In addition, the recommended safe distance of at least 6 feet, often not maintained, is not a magical distance at which the virus stops. Recent studies have shown that based on the size of the particle, including aerosolization and the variability of the dynamic factor, coughing, singing, exercise, the range of dispersion varies greatly. Face masks at all times in public would eliminate the guessing game. In summary, the Montgomery County leadership has in their hand a tool to further decrease infection, the complication, and to save lives. The benefits greatly outweigh the risk. So I'm asking, why are we not implementing face masks at all times in public, similar to what is now mandated in this city? Thank you for your attention.
Thank you. I believe that would be a question for Dr. Gales.
Good evening, Dr. Pettinelli, and thank you for your comments. I would actually like to draw attention to the fact that we actually put in a face covering mandate on June 18th that requires face coverings indoor and outdoors with the provision when physical distancing is difficult to maintain, but ideally for outdoor settings where there are groups of folks. And we have actually particularly focused in when we have had specific venues that we've reopened. For example, gyms, we have required that they be worn, which is different from a number of other jurisdictions. I think in DC they're not required to be worn, but they are encouraged. So we to that end, we completely support the framework in terms of having face coverings in place. Since we put our mandate in June 18th, a number of other counties have done similar orders, including Anne Arundel 2 weeks ago, and just yesterday, DC, Baltimore City, and Baltimore County. We continue to explore if there are any other options that we need to put into place. For example, we have a public health advisory group that includes actually an individual who works at NIH, HRSA, the American Public Health Association, and representatives of 2 of the local universities. And so they provide additional guidance in terms of making sure we are up to date and are aware of the most recent studies to make sure that our toolkit, as you mentioned, is up to date and including science and evidence-based practices to put into place.
Thank you. Councilmember Albernaz, did you want to speak on this one?
No, well, just first, I think as this has evolved from the very beginning, we've been following the science, and I appreciate Dr. Gales' leadership. And we are closely looking at the mask provisions in local jurisdictions. And I know Dr. Gales is on the phone constantly with our colleagues in neighboring jurisdictions. And I'm very proud of the collaboration that has taken place between Prince George's County, Montgomery County, Northern Virginia, who have really forged a strong alliance. And so I have faith in Dr. Gales and his team looking at this and agree that we do need to look at taking aggressive steps moving forward to prevent what we're seeing in other parts of the country where people have relaxed the mask wearing and the social distancing. We are fortunate in the county overall that I've been very impressed that people have continued to sustain their efforts to date, but we have to stay very aggressive, particularly our young adults who are feeling invincible and still working. And we have to make sure that they get the message and all of us get the message too. But it's a point very well taken.
May I just comment?
We need to move on. I'm sorry. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We need to move forward. Our next speaker is Danuta Krotowski.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak this evening. My name is Dr. Danuta Krotowski. I'm recently retired from the NIH and a long-term Bethesda resident. In addition, I'm an immunosuppressed cancer survivor, currently isolating at home. I want to thank the county for its leadership during this pandemic. You've done a really excellent job. And I strongly support the required use of face coverings at all times when individuals are outside their homes to enable our county to safely open its schools and businesses. However, since mid-April, I've noted that fewer people in my neighborhood are wearing masks and keeping safe distances. This includes those who are exercising both on neighborhood streets and in Rock Creek Park, as well as the many workmen who come into the neighborhood. Furthermore, the few that are wearing masks often wear them incorrectly, that is, not covering their noses or their mouths. As we are seeing in the rise in cases in the region, it really is critical that county residents be required to wear face coverings properly at all times. And have readily available access to face coverings and access to instructions as to how to properly wear them. I know that excellent instructions are on the county website, but we need to make this information more available by bringing it to where our residents will see them, and that is into the community. So I strongly support partnering with Montgomery County businesses and community-based organizations, especially those serving our populations hardest hit by the epidemic, to identify the steps to best implement universal and correct mask wearing and making masks available so that we can safely open up the community. And so my question would be, what is the commitment to education and distribution of masks, particularly in the hardest hit areas, and educating our population?
Thank you. Dr. Gales, did you want to answer that first? And then Councilmember Reamer wants to answer it as well.
Sure. Thank you, Dr. Krotowski. I hope I pronounced that correctly. And I hope you are isolating well. in terms of the commitment to education and distribution and dissemination of access to masks and other provisions, that underscores the efforts as we have taken globally as a county, but also focusing in on those zip codes that have had the most cases. And so there are a number of strategies from trying to figure out how to best, from a communications perspective, leverage different methods of communication, as you mentioned, whether that's through social media, television, radio, those different strategies to penetrate within communities, and then making sure that within that the messages are relayed not only in a diverse set of languages, but also speak to the cultural realities of folks' lives so that it's easily understandable. And I think that you will see moving forward, there are a number of efforts, again, partnering with different community organizations and agencies, as well as leveraging the resources of different government agencies and county agencies and nonprofits to be able to increase access to testing, access to other social support services, and linkage that influences an individual's risk of transmission, as well as their ability to be able to respond favorably should they or someone in their family contract the virus.
Thank you. Councilmember Raymer, please.
Thank you. I can only add that we have taken steps to distribute masks to populations where there have access issues, and we have supported local companies to produce masks, local sewing circles and entrepreneurs and local small manufacturing concerns to kind of increase the supply locally of masks, and we recognize that there are real issues. I think this also relates back to the comments about the schools. Safety is number one, and if there is any expenditure that's needed when it's time to reopen schools for them to be reopened safely, we will find the money for that. There's no question about that. Masks are an essential part of a safety protocol, and we want to make sure that anybody who should wear a mask, wears a mask.
Okay, thank you. And I know we're going to run over time, so Councilmember Albanaz, I know you had a comment as well.
Yes, just briefly, we have, just to let everybody know before Councilmember Albanaz goes, we have 5 speakers left and we have under 20 minutes left.
Okay. So always do that to Councilmember Albanaz. Go ahead.
One of the success stories that has come out of the pandemic is the development of a model called the Hub. This is a one-stop shop in which we are providing food security and additional resources to families, and we're distributing masks through these hubs. Councilmember Navarro and I, with support of the entire council, recently initiated the appropriation of funds to establish 4 additional hubs, and my colleague Councilmember Rice is also working within our African American community to stand up additional hubs as well in hard-to-hit communities with those high-hit zip codes, and there will be masks distributed through those hubs.
Thank you.
That's great. Karen Klingman, please.
Yeah, hi. Hi, my name's Karen Klingman. I, too, am a NIH employee, a physician, worked at NIAID for several years, recently retired, and I'm also asking about masks. So I won't belabor the point, but I think there's a great need out there. I walk around the neighborhood. People don't know how to wear masks. They're not wearing masks. The workers on some construction sites that are in my neighborhood, they have masks, but they often aren't wearing them. So I think there's a great need for education about use of masks, and also the use and physical distancing to prevent the spread. So I just want to implore you to redouble your efforts because the county succeeded pretty well so far, and we don't want to lose that over time. So, and I thank you all for having a session like this. It's really helpful. Thanks.
Thank you. Councilmember Navarro, please.
Thank you. Quickly, just to add that I really appreciate that feedback, because although we have been working really hard on communication strategy, it's always good to hear specific feedback like that so that we can redouble our efforts. In addition, as Councilmember Albornoz said, this one initiative that we just introduced last Tuesday, specifically targeting the Latino community, because the cases in that particular community tend to be pretty high. What we're also working on is to develop health promoters that come from those communities so that they can go in there, and they're trusted people in order to disseminate this information as well, because we do need to have that kind of strategy where we have grassroots strategy, we have organizational strategies working with our community partners, and also as a government we need to do our part with overall communication. So I think if we do those 3 levels, we should be covering a lot of the bases that you were just discussing. So stay tuned, and please keep informing us and giving us feedback. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Raymer, did you have a quick comment?
We need to do a better job getting the word out. I think we're doing, especially in target communities. I had some workers come do some exterior repair in my house, and they weren't wearing masks. I brought 2 masks out to them, and I asked them to wear them. But I think that is a little bit too, it is too common. I know that the county is doing enforcement now in construction sites, and that's a really important area for us to step up and make sure that these procedures are followed. So I think the appropriation that my colleagues have introduced will be a big help. We've got to step it up and make sure everybody gets the message.
Thank you. Ms. Kennedy, please.
Thank you. Joshua Rubin, please.
Good evening, and thank you for taking the time to listen to everyone's concerns tonight. My name is Joshua Rubin. I'm a teacher at Loiterman Middle School, about to start his 16th year as an educator, and the parent of a rising second grader at Fields Road Elementary School. I want to thank you for your work so far and the responses given this evening in response to Ms. Cole and Mr. Jeter. If there's one thing that this crisis has made abundantly clear, it's that we are a county deeply divided by economics, and that is having a major impact on how our children are able to receive an education during the COVID-19 crisis. I teach in zip code 20906, which has the county's highest number of COVID-positive tests. My students overwhelmingly rely on free and reduced meals, and I am afraid that with the expiration of Governor Hogan's moratorium on evictions, many of my students and their families will be evicted in the coming weeks. It's my hope that the County Council, along with the Board of Education, come up with permanent solutions for Montgomery County, such as a universal basic income, rent forgiveness, or other measure that will keep my students in their homes. But even that will not be enough. We need more schools with community wraparound services, especially in our poorest neighborhoods. MCPS cannot solve this disparity alone. The entire community is on the hook for truly leveling the playing field for all of our students. My second grader will have the benefit of having a trained veteran MCPS teacher living in his home. Many others will have access to community learning pods where their parents will be able to hire someone to assist their children with their learning. I worry about the largely poor, majority-minority community I serve and what challenges the next year will bring for those students. What will you be doing to help my students and their families?
Thank you. Councilmember Giwando.
Thank you, and thank you for the question. You raised some critical issues that some of which we were just discussing today in our Education and Culture and HHS committee. And I actually raised this point about the pods and that are popping up. There's an article in the New York Times, and we know, like many things with COVID, it's a very unequal experience, right? Some people actually saving money, are spending more time with their family. Others are in desperate need, having to work, financially not able to pay their rent for the 3rd or 4th month. Actually, just next week, this council has taken action on the on eviction prevention and on the rental assistance side. We passed a temporary rent stabilization law that I authored and my colleagues supported to cap increases in rent until 180 days after the state of emergency. We've also allocated, thanks to Councilmember Glass and all of our colleagues, $2 million in rental assistance. We've just introduced another $20 million to help landlords and renters. I'm introducing a resolution with support of my colleagues on Tuesday to call on Governor Hogan to extend the eviction moratorium until at least January 31st. That's a critical need. And just on the education piece, as several of my colleagues have said, we're going to make sure schools have what they need to equitably distribute resources for our most vulnerable impacted students. And that's a commitment from all of us. We don't know exactly all the ways we're going to need to do it, but we started talking about that today, and that's a commitment.
Thank you. Councilmember Rice, and I don't know whether Councilmember Glass had a comment as well. Councilmember Rice.
No, Councilmember Joano pretty much said it all, and we will be reconvening in September to have more robust conversations around that. That had been our commitment to our school system, so we will be continuing to have these conversations around how we can continue to be supportive. I am in constant contact with both our school board president and our superintendent, and so they are keeping us abreast of the needs that they have. I will just say, folks have mentioned about food a number of times, and this council has stepped up in so many ways to ensure that we're feeding our families throughout Montgomery County. And in addition, we're working on the federal side when it comes to USDA reimbursement. I've been working with Senator Van Hollen and Congressman Raskin and Congressman Trone to make sure that we can continue to count on that USDA reimbursement when it comes to making sure that those meals will still be there for our kids that need them the most.
Thank you, Councilmember Glass. And if somebody, I think someone needs to put their microphone on mute. Councilmember Glass, please.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. President. I think my colleagues answered the wide-ranging question, which really speaks to the totality of the issue that we're trying to face. And while there are so many different things that need to be done, we as a council are limited in our statutory authority as to what we can do. And so that is why we are looking to the governor to continue either instill a rent moratorium, which a lot of people have asked, or at least to continue halting the eviction process. And one of the tools in our toolbox here at the county council is to be able to provide rental assistance. And so on Tuesday, we will be passing a $20 million program, and a lot of that funding will go to the communities that you directly spoke about. It is going to be very targeted to the specific demographics and needs in our community. So please follow up with us as you speak with your students and stay in touch so that we can help you help them.
Thank you. Ms. Evans, please, if you have a comment, I know Ms. Kennedy's going to be jumping up and down, but please, if you have a comment.
Be brief. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you, Mr. Rubin. I live in the 20906 area code. Lorderman is right in my neighborhood. And I want to say that MCPS has student support teams so that we can make certain that between our nurses, counselors, people, personnel workers, and school psychologists that we are able to reach out to our families and our students to be able to know what those additional needs are. I just want to take the opportunity to thank our community partners, our faith-based organizations who have been stepping up to help us to provide additional support to our families during this time. So I just wanted to acknowledge all the help that we've been getting in addition to what we're doing differently under these current challenging times. So thank you for your service as well. Thank you.
Thank you. And Mr. Rubin, thank you. I was going to say it's good seeing you, and I don't actually see you, but I do enjoy hearing from you. Thank you. Ms. Kennedy, please.
Okay, next up we have James Doffermeyer.
Hi, everybody. Good evening, Council. My name is James Doffermeyer. I'm a teacher in MCPS. I'm a high school biology teacher. I was at Magruder this past year, and now I'll be at Churchill this coming year. So first, I have to express my frustration and disappointment with Superintendent Smith and Board President Evans that simply it took rather long to make the decision that we would go 100% virtual when so many other counties around us did it. And what I get frustrated at hearing was a lot of political passing the buck type of answers instead of just owning up and saying this is why we're doing what we're doing. I hear a lot of we're going to follow the guidance of the health professionals, and I appreciate that, but I feel like I don't need Dr. Gales to tell me that it's not safe. And so the delay in MCPS's response was really frustrating. And furthermore, as a teacher, I have to express that, teachers, and I in particular, am willing to go above and beyond to do everything for my students in a COVID-safe manner. Bring the kids to the football field and I'll teach them, you know what I mean? I absolutely second everything that every teacher here has said, that there is obviously a lot of inequality and inequity that needs to be addressed. But first and foremost needs to come safety, and I just don't feel that that really has been the priority from Superintendent Smith and from President Evans. And so I really feel like I need a straight answer, as brief as possible, from Dr. Gales. What is going to be the COVID threshold that we need to look for in Montgomery County before you will allow teaching to resume in the buildings? And I need to hear that so that I can hold the superintendent to that, and not try to have us come back any sooner. Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Duffermeyer. Thank you for your question. Let me actually say that I have worked very closely with Dr. Smith, Dr. McKnight, and the school board from back before we even got cases of COVID in our jurisdiction, in terms of planning and putting together policies and strategies to keep the students safe. So while that may, certainly be your impression, I can tell you that they have been very focused on the safety of students and asking for guidance and asking for information and data to help them drive their decisions. Now, they worked really hard to come up with contingency plans in terms of being able to, make sure that kids had adequate spacing, whether we're talking about from the bus to when they got off the buses to how they went into classrooms, and that whole level of specificity for a plan. The challenge is that over the last, and I think this is true and indicative of a lot of school systems, a lot of school systems have announced within the last week. There are a number of school systems, for example, DC they have not made their formal decision because the reality is that things have been very dynamic and fluid. So to your question in terms of what measures need to be in place, 3 weeks ago, we were looking at a very different situation. 3 weeks ago, we did not see 40 states having increases in cases. 3 weeks ago, we were actually seeing decreases in the overall number in Maryland to the point where we were talking about 200 to 300 cases statewide. Now, over the last 3 weeks, and even in Montgomery County, the question we got asked most frequently was, well, when are we going to phase 3? And how quickly can we get to phase 4? Well, the last 3 weeks didn't happen. And that has caused all of us to have pause in terms of saying the numbers overall have not improved to a point, to your question, where we feel safely, where the burden of the virus in terms of new cases has dropped to where we're talking about single digits or in the teens, to be able to be sure that when we open schools back up and we open up other aspects of society, that the risk of transmission is as small as we can potentially see. And so that is the reality why you saw a lot of school districts, again, in the last week, from Anne Arundel, Prince George's, Howard County, and now us and DC, likely in the near future, make those decisions in terms of moving. And I think it's important to point out that the leadership had intended to start from a virtual platform to give additional time to see the numbers continue to improve to a place where we felt it would be safe for you as a teacher, other staff members, and students to come in safely. So I know there's no magical number, but that's the guidance that we have in place, and I can say that they've worked really hard to do that.
Thank you. And Ms. Evans, if you could be very quick, please.
Okay, we need to move on then very quick. Thanks.
Okay. So, Mr. Duffermeyer, thank you for your question. And as Dr. Gales just stated, the intent was to start off virtually and then phase in our students. We'll come back in November with Dr. Gales to assess where we are and before we move forward. So no decision will be made to go back into schools before we get the guidance from our local health expert. So thank you for your question.
Thank you very much.
Ms. Kennedy, please.
Frank Howard, please.
Hi, Susan. This is Frank Howard. Can you hear me? I'm calling in audio only.
Yes, we can.
Great. Thanks, Susan. Hi, Council President Katz, whom I go back with a number of years when he was the mayor of Gaithersburg, and I was the longtime chairman of the board of directors of the Second Chance Wildlife Center, other council members, and a special nod to Council Member Albornoz, since my concern or issue is related to public safety. Again, my name is Frank Howard. I live in Laytonsville, and I represent the Maryland 200 Inter-County Connector, the ICC Safety and Noise Coalition, which is a growing group of area homeowners associations approaching 25,000 or more, as well as the Mid-Atlantic American Automobile Association, the AAA. The reason that we are reaching out to the council, if you're wondering, is, and I'm going to get to our concerns in just a moment, and I know we're out of time, Susan. I'll be very quick about this. I've even cut my comments in half. We're reaching out to the county council because recently we reached out to Governor Hogan, our local state legislators, several of them, the Montgomery County Police Department, the Maryland State Police, and the Maryland Transportation Authority Police Department, who have jurisdiction over the ICC, as well as the Montgomery County Executive. We heard from all of them immediately within 24 to 48 hours, except we were very disappointed not to hear back from the county executive, despite the fact that public safety is one of his stated 7 priorities. Quickly, Susan, our concern, the ICC Safety and Noise Coalition, is about the increasingly dangerous speeding vehicles, both automobiles and motorcycles, that pose a serious problem to the safety of Montgomery County citizens, often speeds greatly exceeding 125 to 150 miles an hour. It's been caught on video by a private citizen who she recently posted it. It went viral on social media and was picked up, and I was interviewed as well as others by WJLA TV, their reporter, and they showed the video, and it was a very scary situation. So we are very concerned, and we've formed our coalition because we're concerned about county citizens riding on the roads or living near the ICC. They hear and see these speeding vehicles all the time. The experience can be terrorizing, especially on weekends and oftentimes late into the night. And the vehicle operators frequently obscure tags as well as lacking highway toll transponders. More than 80%, and I'm almost done, Susan, I know we're out of time, more than 80% of the inter-county connector runs through Montgomery County, with most highway access ramps originating in Montgomery County. So in wrapping up, we are requesting the council's general support for our coalition, our initiative, our citizens initiative for increased highway safety on the ICC and for the benefit of Montgomery County motorists and residents. And I would love to hear if anyone on the council would be interested in working with us.
Well, first off, Frank, it's good to hear from you. It's been a while since we've seen each other. Obviously, my office has received concerns about it as well. We've reached out to the police. I'm surprised that more. There's the Transit Authority Police, or whatever they're called, the ICC Police, have like a division that is on the ICC. I don't understand why this would be a problem. They should be on this situation as well. I saw the clip on the television a while back that you're talking about. So of course every one of us is concerned about speeding on the ICC and every other place in Montgomery County. So all of us will be more than happy to work with you, and if you'll reach out to my office, we will figure out what's the best course for all of us to take.
Thank you. Our last speaker tonight is Diana Conway. Ms. Conway, can you hear us? Hello, Ms. Conway. I know she's there, but maybe we're having some audio issues again. I know she was having some technical issues earlier. So well, we will ask her to send her question in.
Conway knows how to reach me, so I'm
yes. We will ask her to. There we go.
Pleased to answer Ms. Conway's question.
Okay, great. Well, we will make sure that she gets that question to you guys so you can answer her back, and that wraps it all up for us, Mr. President.
Well, thank you very much, and thank you everyone who has joined us this evening. Obviously, my colleagues, Board of Education President Evans and the Public Health Officer, Dr. Travis Gales. I'm going to ask Councilmember Friedson to have the last word this evening, but I did want to especially thank Sonia Healy and her team for making this evening possible, from the public information from the County Council, and especially Susan Kennedy. If we could applaud, all of you deserve a great round of applause, Susan. And with that, we're going to ask Councilmember Friedson to say goodnight for all of us, please.
Okay, so I was the only council member who didn't actually answer any questions. I get the easiest job here, which is to close us out. Thank you to the council president. Thank you to the staff. Thank you to Dr. Gales and to Ms. Evans and to Ms. LaVoy. Thanks to colleagues, and most importantly, thanks to all of you who joined us this evening. And we've been talking since the beginning of this about limiting presence but not participation, and this is part of the council's continued effort to try to find new and creative ways in this new moment to allow for residents to be able to access their county council. And we'll continue to try to find ways to do that. But today and this evening was really a great example of citizen engagement. We hope that you will continue to do that. If we didn't answer any of your questions, please reach out to us, email us, and we will try to get back to you as quickly as possible. Stay safe, be well, and wear your mask when you are outdoors. Thank you very much. Gales, like Councilmember Jawando was showing.
Am I doing it right? Dr. Gales, do you approve?
There you go.
All right, there you go.
Have a good evening and go Nats.
Yes, all right. Good night. Thank you all. Thank you. Good night.
When I say constrained, there are two things I don't think people realize about what's happening with our capital budget. When I was